Bring Mary Kay in after a reminder that NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time with FanDuel. You can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all year. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. And with that, how you doing today, Mary Kay?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
Good, Mary Kay.
What's up, Mary Kay?
We were just talking about, obviously, after Shedor's performance. Well, first of all, what did you think of his performance against Tennessee?
I was very, very impressed. He is so much more elusive than I thought he would be at this level. So that's one of the things that is really standing out to me. He's a gamer. He's got the it factor. He's doing so many things really well, and I think he's coming up the learning curve very, very quickly. Remember, he has not practiced with these starters very long at all, and he's getting it. Now he's going to have a much stiffer test coming up over the next 3 weeks. He's got the Bears, the Bills, and the Steelers coming up, and then he's going to finish it off with the Bengals. So you're talking about going against Caleb Williams, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and Joe Burrow. So this is going to be tough. But if he can continue what he's doing and show the growth that he has shown at this point, they're on to something here.
Mary Kay, you said that 7 games, you didn't think 7 games was enough to have a definitive answer on Shedeur. If he does play well, you still don't feel that way, good, bad, or indifferent, of what they should do in the offseason?
I still think it's a small sample size, and I do think it would be a risk to have 2 really nice first-round picks, and if you see a quarterback there that you really like in the first round of the draft, I don't know what else I would necessarily want to spend a first-round pick on. But let me just say that performance that Shedeur Sanders put on against the Titans, I think that started to turn the tide within the organization. And if he really can prove that he is this gamer and he is this playmaker, then maybe they don't need to draft that quarterback. He's got 4 more chances to show that he is the guy. And, I was very impressed with that game. I just thought that he did so many things. One of the other things, in addition to the elusiveness, is that when he does have a big, bad, scary defender bearing down on him, he just can calmly stand there in the face of that pressure most of the time and calmly deliver the football. And I think there's something to be said for that, too. He was hit 14 times, and he dusted himself off, got back up, and did it over again, and brought them back at the end of that game to win it. That's what you want to see from your quarterback. So that actually started to have me thinking that just maybe they would be justified in not taking a quarterback in the first round. But I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah, these 4 weeks are big, and some people are going to come to the conclusion a little quicker than others. When I saw it, I said, "Oh, this is what we're seeing," because I saw some of the same accuracy, saw some of the same things that he was able to do in college. But me and Bull talked about it. One of the things that I was really impressed with was not the touch and the throws. It was the throws where he understood the time of the game. He understood, okay, well, let me throw it to Jerome Ford and let him get out and run the football. Let me throw the ball to Harold Fannin Jr. and let him run down the field and let him, break some tackles. He wasn't just looking for the big plays. He was looking for the smart plays or the plays to move the team. Is that a product of him getting more comfortable and just having more flow and more experience with the reps that he's getting now?
Yes, absolutely. He's getting more comfortable and he's understanding the game management better. And what you're not seeing him do as much is retreat. That was a big concern for the Browns in the early going, and I'm sure it was a big concern for a lot of other NFL teams that passed on him time and time again. But he has started to really figure that out. He can check it down. He's not always looking to press and make the big play, which he did that on the interception. He admitted that he felt they were stagnant, and he was trying to make something happen there. And there's something to be said for that, to have the guts and the bravery to try to go for it at certain times. So I don't really even fault him for wanting to do that. Even the best quarterbacks in the NFL throw interceptions. So I don't have a huge problem with him trying to make a big play there. But he is managing the game a lot better. And the fact that he is progressing so quickly I think that's one of the things that is standing out to me, is that he's getting it, and he is getting it fast, and he is a gamer, and I think fans should get really excited about him.
I agree, Mary Kay, and I find, and that's why I find it so baffling that Kevin Stefanski thought Dillon Gabriel was more ready to play than Shedeur Sanders. And I guess you could argue, well, Shedeur Sanders started later in the season, so maybe he, in a way, had more time to get ready, but I don't buy that excuse. And I just don't see, after what I've seen of these two guys, how anybody could think that Dillon, I know it's a small sample size, and maybe I'll be proven wrong, but at this point, I don't see how anybody could have thought that Dillon Gabriel was better, and that makes me question Kevin Stefanski's ability to know who's good and who's not.
Well, I don't even know if it was just Kevin Stefanski. I think it was an organizational decision, obviously, that Dillon Gabriel was the superior quarterback. If they didn't feel that way, they obviously would have taken Shedeur ahead of Dillon in the draft. But they felt Dillon was better and would be a better quarterback in the NFL. And it just hasn't proven to be the case. Sometimes what you can't measure in the pre-draft process is heart and desire. And I said this yesterday on our podcast. In the final analysis, it might be the best thing in the world for Shedeur that he tumbled to the 5th round of the draft, because he has an enormous chip on his shoulder, and he is seeking to prove to the world that he is the quarterback that nobody thought that he was. And now I think he is just on a mission, and it may have lit fire under him, and he is doing everything in his power to go out there and be that quarterback and to prove to the Browns that he is the guy that they're looking for. So that's something that you cannot foresee in the pre-draft process. People didn't see that in Tom Brady. They didn't see it in Shedeur for some reason. And so, the Browns were going on traits and game management skills and processing speed, which they really felt that Dillon Gabriel was one of those guys who could just diagnose a defense and manage a game and just process so quickly. And it's not that they didn't think Shedeur had that kind of a high football acumen, because he does. But he was starting a little bit back further in the process of all the things that you have to do to go out there and play pro football, just in terms of the play calling and the sliding the protections and managing the motions and all that kind of stuff. He just had to get up to speed on that stuff. But he has just gone lightning quick at coming up that learning curve. And here's something to remember. We have now heard from a number of people. He is in that office every single day with Kevin Stefanski, going over tape and learning this pro game. And I think that has helped him tremendously. So for the narrative that's out there that Kevin Stefanski has tried to sabotage him and that he doesn't like him, no. The reason why Shedeur has learned as quickly as he has is because of all that extra time that Kevin Stefanski has put in with him in that office.
Well said, Mary Kay. It all matters what you do after you get off that football field. That makes the biggest difference. So I commend him for doing those things. But I gotta talk to you about the defense, because
terrible.
What happened? What happened? I mean, they made that Titans offense look like the Rams back in the day. I don't know what happened. What did you make of them? I mean, Tony Pollard had a game, and he ain't had a game all year.
I know. It's just unbelievable to grasp what happened. But I think for starters, we all learned just how important Malik Collins was to this run defense, right? I mean, that is the number one thing in my mind. To take him out of the middle of that defense and then to find out the hard way just the enormous impact that he had on that Cleveland Browns run defense this whole entire season. He's been amazing. So I think that was one of the things. And then I think that you have to give the credit to the Titans, because they came in here with a game plan and they were on a mission, and they were not going to let Myles Garrett wreck the game for them. They were not going to let him get that sack record. And I think there was too much talk coming out of Cleveland all week about how it was going to happen in that game against their number 1 overall pick, and they decided, oh no, you're not. And then they set out and they did it, and they held him from getting that. They held him to 1 sack, which truthfully may have really only been a half a sack, because by rights it probably could have been or should have been shared with Alex Wright. But they gave the whole thing to Miles, and Alex was okay with that. But that's what they did. They set forth, not let him wreck the game, and they came in here and just decided, we are going to run it down the Cleveland Browns' throats, and they accomplished it. And other teams are going to be seeking to do the same.
Mary Kay, do you think Kevin Stefanski regrets not having Shedeur Sanders on the football field for that 2-point conversion?
I don't know. He doesn't seem to regret it. And I think that's in part because he had him on the football field for the first 2-point conversion, and he did fumble the snap. Of course, he had a new center in there in Luke Whippler snapping the football to him, and they fumbled the exchange. And I think they decided, let's go with the guy who has run the Wildcats so successfully for the past how many ever weeks, and scored touchdowns off of it, and it was almost like clockwork. So if it had worked, I don't think any of us would be sitting here saying, that was really stupid. He's been off the field on those other Quinshon Judkins Wildcat plays that have resulted in touchdowns. And I don't think we have complained about it. I don't think I've heard any criticism about it. I think it's the fact that both of those plays were bungled and botched, and they didn't work. They worked in practice, although, again, they had a different center. But they worked in practice, they didn't work, and when you try something like that and it doesn't work, you are just going to have to take the heat for it.
Well, I will say this. I have never liked when Kevin Stefanski takes the quarterback, like last week against the 49ers. They took Shedeur out. They put Harold Fannin Jr. in. They ran him out there with the tight. I don't know why he does that with tight ends. He is infatuated with them. I'm of the thought process, if you're 364 yards and he's moving you down the field, why not give him an opportunity to keep the ball in the hot hand?
Well, there's something to be said for that. There is something to be said for that. He had the hot hand, but they also, once again, have been very, very successful, not just this year, but over the years, with that Wildcat sneak, with doing that with Harrison Bryant, with tight ends, with what they've done on the goal line with Quinshon Judkins. Again, I think if it had worked, if the play had gone correctly and it had worked, nobody would be complaining about it at all. So I don't really fault them for trying something that worked in practice, that has worked before on the football field. But once again, we have to figure out what happened there. We didn't get a chance to talk to Quinshon about it because he decided not to talk after the game. That's not okay. You have to face the music when something like that happens. So we'll have to still dig into exactly what went on there.
All right, Mary Kay, good to talk to you as always. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right.